What is going on? Got a little bit of downtime on my hands. Not that I really wanted it, but kind of had to take it. Silver leafing, gold leafing. If you guys don't already know, I love that stuff. Can I do it? Not really. Have I been trying? Yeah. I've actually kind of made like a breakthrough on this stuff. I've been trying to learn it for probably about 3 years, on and off. I mean, I haven't really been that hardcore on it, but when I'm hardcore on it, yeah, I spend hours and hours on end doing it. Mainly because it's a long, timely process. Haven't really had much luck till now. I'm going to show you guys what I've learned. It took an awful long time to learn this, but I kind of think it was maybe one of the key parts of it. Might be noticing this trunk lid here. Might look familiar for a lot of people that have been watching the channel for a long time. It's off the Blue Rose. I saved just a little bit off of it. You might have noticed when I went to the junkyard, there was a good bit cut off. It's because it was still good and kind of wanted to keep it. So I'm going to work on a little project. I'm going to try and do some silver leafing on this. Hopefully it turns out good. If not, we'll back up and punt. But I'm going to get to it. So this here is a little test panel I've been doing. This is the second time I've had it turn out this good. I do have some holidays in there, just like that. Got to work on that. But my main problem I was having was just turning it. You know, it seems like something simple, but I was having no luck. I would either burn through or it wouldn't have that look at all. And to me, that look right there is pretty good. Lately, I've been going to some car shows. Actually got to see some real silver leafing. Most of the time, it's just stuff in the magazines that I get to look at. But it really wasn't up to par. And it wasn't nowhere near this nice, which I'm sure there's a lot better stuff out there than this. But like I said, the majority of stuff I've been seeing just really wasn't up to par. So I'm going to show you how I figured this out. So although I've kind of sort of figured out how to apply gold leaf and actually get it to turn, still terrible at the whole design thing. So I'm going to just basically do a stripe, maybe come up around here. I'm going to use whatever this is, 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. I'm going to use that kind of as a guideline to do my outlines, and then peel the inside. That way I'll be able to apply my glue to the center, if that makes sense to you. If not, hopefully it will here in just a second. I would kind of like to do something around here. I don't know. That probably won't work out too well. Don't really know how that's going to all go, but we're just going to tape it up and kind of see where it goes, because that's usually how things that I do end up anyways. You start on it and then it kind of goes one direction and turns into something else, and in the end turns into something cool. In the perfect world, probably should like measure down and make that even. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to eyeball it. Looking good. Gotta start somewhere. Let me get a razor blade. Pretty much just laid my razor blade. There's a little crease, a little body line, I should say. A little body line there. Just put my razor blade on it. Gotta peel the tape back from it. Maybe it'll end up cool. Who knows? Come out over this side of the block here. You can't see anything. Probably completely uneven. It'll be all right. Those are completely uneven, but it'll be all right. Maybe. Now, I don't plan on leaving that a sharp corner. Kind of plan on rounding that. I'm going to play with the tape, see how that works out. I am actually going to measure in on the ends. I might measure it all, screw it. Now I bet you didn't know it, but I'm a master pinstriper too. If you care to take the dare, I'll make a bet with you. Now you do pretty good pinstriping, son, but give Cadillac Dan's due. I bet a brush of gold against your soul will think I'm better than you. I'm actually terrible at pinstriping. I just have all this junk that I've been accumulating over the years. But I'm practicing, so gotta give me some credit there. So yeah, terrible pinstriper. No brush of gold, sorry. Don't come to my house wanting to have a showdown in the middle of the night because it ain't gonna happen. Anyways, I don't even need this brush. I just thought it'd be funny. So I'm gonna use this brush right here. If I get it out here, it is a MAC 16 maximum coverage. Actually, I don't even know why the hell I got this shit out of here. We're gonna backtrack. I just thought it was funny. All right, back to the nature at hand. That's another song. Another song for another day. The only reason I got this out was to get my Stabilo pencil. I was actually going to measure each side, and I did measure this too, and it's pretty close. You know, it's within an eighth, which is fine with me. You know, for eyeballing, that's pretty good. I made my mark over there, and I mean, this stuff, I am no expert by any means. So I mean, if I can do it, chances are you can probably do it. I just measured over from my edge. Got 5 3/8 to the outside of my tape. Measured over there, 5 3/8. Made me a little mark. It's also called a grease pencil. You can draw all over your stuff. You can pinstripe over it. You can put glue over it and all that. It doesn't care. It'll still stick. I don't know how. It's magic. But yeah, made me a little mark over there. So put a little piece of tape, and we'll keep moving forward. I'm probably going to do these lines. I'll bring you guys back after these lines. I'm going to struggle on that. I guarantee it. But kind of see where I'm going with this. Yeah, who am I kidding? I'll bring you guys along. You can watch me struggle. Well, you can see I'm not perfect by any means. Maybe you can learn from my mistakes. So, as I said, this is going to be where my glue is. So, can't really have tape there. But I'm terrible at making outlines. So I'm going to use it kind of as a reference, if you will. That looks terrible. I'm not going to use that. That looks pretty good. Left me just a hair of a line there. Left just a little bit of a line there. Not much at all. Any inconsistency, really, you're not going to have that consistent of a pinstripe. At least I'm not. Most people probably won't. But I wanted to leave just a little bit of room there. That way when I go to peel this tape, it doesn't interfere with my top piece of tape. Yeah, I'm not really trying to pull this tape tight. I'm just trying to get it tight enough to keep it from bowing up. I'm just going to follow it down. That doesn't look too bad there. My main thing is I wanted to make sure that looked good, and also that it wasn't going over the line anywhere on there. Still not exactly 100% sure what I'm doing in the corners, but we'll figure it out as we go. Have no fear. Cadillac and Dan is here. That looks pretty good. No complaints. Now we'll run our bottom piece. I'm going to peel these back just a hair because I overlapped it. Didn't really have a game plan when I put it down. Kind of did. Didn't see the whole picture. Beautiful. That doesn't look the greatest, doesn't look the worst, so I'll take it. Like I said, no master taper, that's for sure. But you gotta start somewhere, and this is where I'm starting. Guess I don't have to cut that. It'll flap just fine. Alrighty then. I'm gonna go ahead and peel this back a little bit. Bring that on can kind of know where my straight edge is going to be. Guess I'll use a razor blade, that makes things easier. I don't know if you guys can hear that squirrel out there, but Debo would be going crazy right now if he knew that. He'd be going insane. He is a master squirrel hunter. Well, that didn't work out like I wanted to. Where's my razor blade go? Set it down for 2 seconds and the water's off. Get where you guys can see I had to cut a little corner off there. I folded it up and I folded it the wrong direction. So I had to make a little clearance cut. It'll be all right. Trying to cut on that as lightly as possible and not cutting into the clear. Sure, I probably still did. I tried. No master here. So now hopefully you kind of got an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish here. This is where our leaf's going to be. I'm trying to do some of these corners here, make them look a little bit fancier. Not going to guarantee anything, but I'm going to try. All right, since I had good luck on one side, I'll see if I can show you guys how I did it. And now it'll totally look like I'm struggling. Not going to lie, I was kind of struggling beforehand, but I actually turned that somewhat okay. All right, I got some fine line tape. Kind of just sticking it on there wherever. And I'm coming up to the edge of my yellow tape. And just kind of rounding the corner. I am 100% sure these are not going to be symmetrical by any means possible. But I'm just kind of trying to do a rounded corner and make it look okay. That looks okay. And my razor blade is way over there, of course. Rule number 1, keep your tools on hand. I'm terrible at that. All right, we got that one done. Come on up to our top. Looks decent enough. I'm sure you guys didn't get to see a bit of that because my arm was blocking it, but I'll bring you in, you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here. Actually, I'm gonna throw some tape there. That way you can see what I'm doing, because right now it's kind of hard to tell. All right, so here's what I've got so far. I'm gonna run a razor right across that, cut that out. And there's my blue line. That's kind of hard to see, but I just threw some random pieces of tape to fill that little corner. Not gonna worry about that. That ain't gonna interfere at all, unlike that bug. But yeah, that's not gonna interfere at all because that's our main line. So it just kind of comes level with that, swoops around, We'll see how it looks. It'll probably look like crap once I actually put the leaf on there and pull the tape off. But I'm doing the best I can. So if anybody else has a better idea on how to do this, I'm sure I'd get like a radius gauge. That'd probably help out a lot, but I'm just kind of winging it here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out. And we'll be pretty well good to go from here. Like I said, this ain't no showpiece. It is what it is. All right, so we got our tape lines laid out. Looking all right, I guess. Before I put my glue down, or size I should say, I'm going to take my test piece that I did earlier. I'm going to go ahead and scrape all that off. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Everything goes good. I should be able to do it again. But I'm going to scrape that off. That's going to be my test panel, I guess. That way I can be sure the glue's at the proper tackiness, I guess you'd say. You don't want it wet. You don't want it dry. You want it just right. So we'll do some test panels on that before we actually put it on our painted surface. All right, so the best advice I think you could probably get from this video, get yourself a piece of glass. Go to any glass shop. They always have pieces that come in wrong. Get a piece of tempered glass. That'd be my most ideal suggestion. Mainly because if you mess up and drop it, you're not going to get cut very bad. You might get little hairline cuts, like as if you were shaving or something like that. But you're not going to lose a limb or slice an artery or nothing like that. It'll bust into small little pieces. Plus, it's a lot tougher. It can handle, being set around the shop. I had taped up all my corners because this is the most delicate part of tempered glass. You can hit that corner and it will shatter, but you can punch the center of it and it'll probably be all right. But I just sprayed a little bit of window cleaner on here. Scrape with a razor blade. It's a fresh start. Get on the leaf, throw it in the trash. Yeah, cleanup's easy. I mean, you're gonna mess up a lot. That's a guarantee. So, it takes a lot of prep work trying to do it on a body panel just to mess up. And then I have to clean it all up again. Not 100% sure on if you mess up on a body panel. I think you can just kind of lightly take lacquer to it, wipe everything off. Maybe reducer, paint thinner. Not 100% sure. You're gonna have to do that research on your own. Haven't really got that far yet. It is like the first actual painted surface where it may turn out all right. I did have a 90 Cadillac that I had parted out when I built my two-door, or started to build my two-door. I attempted some silver leafing on it. It turned out terrible, so I kind of left it as it is. And didn't really try and repair my mess up. I just moved on to a different panel. So you'll have to do that research yourself, and you can let me know. That way you can help me. So we've got our test panel all clean. It's all back to new. We've got some little squares, rectangles taped off. These are going to be our test areas. Reason for doing this, pretty much once you lay that leaf, that's it. That's your shot. You only get one shot. Kind of like what Eminem says, you only got one shot to do it. But anyways, yeah, you throw that leaf down, it's too wet, it's going to stay wet. I don't really think it dries after that. Not to mention, once you turn that leaf and it's messed up, you're screwed. I've heard guys, kind of cleaning it off, starting again. Haven't had any luck on that, so you have to look for somebody else for that info. So I try and do it right the first time. That's why I got 4 test pieces here. If I don't get it right in 4 times, I'll try on that for a 5th, and can't get it right now, I'll throw it in the scrap pile. Another thing you might notice, got a bunch of sandwich bags around. I'm not making sandwiches. I usually keep my tape in them, mainly because I do metal fabrication, and there's grit and junk flying all through the air, and I don't want it stuck in my tape. I want my tape to stay sticky, and I want my edges to stay nice. So I keep it in the bag. Let me find my toolbox now, set somewhere. All right, so we're gonna get ready to lay our size down. This is what I use. There you go. I got it from LA Gold, as you can see. I got it from their website. I got this and the leaf all from the same place. The guy online helped me out. He kind of actually reached out to me. He's seen I was struggling. Told me he uses that. So definitely decided to use that. He helped me out with a lot more, but he's got a lot more skills, like way more skills than I have. His work was awesome. Kind of figured the actual turning part out just by doing a lot of research, and I've kind of seen what other people suggested and kind of took some information, left in some information out that didn't work. So this is what I come up with. Not really a huge secret. I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't say I came up with it, but I stumbled across it, and that's the easiest way to put it, and it works. So, what we're gonna do, gonna pour a little bit of this out. What I got here, just a regular old catalog. It's actually Classic Industries for my Impala. I haven't worked on it in so long, don't need the magazine. They'll send me another one. But it's nice because you can pour all your stuff on here, paint, glue, whatever. Once it dries, rip it off, throw it away, start over fresh. One thing I did notice, I made a huge improvement in me spreading my glue because I had a really bad spot. I had a really bad problem with holidays. What that is just where there's no glue, so the leaf didn't stick. You got a hole in it, it looks like crap. Not saying I've completely cured it, but if you mix just a little bit of pinstriping paint, it doesn't take much, trust me. Just a little bit in there, it'll actually color this so you can see it a lot easier because it does look like a goldish tint, but really when you put it in a thin layer, really hard to see. I've seen guys, they'll just dab it on there and do their designs. I don't know how they do it. I mean, obviously the paint, it helps, but as far as like working the brush, I can't do none of that. I struggle just to fill a whole spot. So that's where we're at now. I'm gonna grab me just a little bit of paint. I'll use this brush. I'm gonna grab a little bit of paint, put a little dab in this, pour me some glue, some size, stir it all up, get a little bit of pigment in there so we can see it. And then we'll start laying some size and make some magic happen, hopefully. Everybody that I've seen that suggested this tip, they say to use yellow because it kind of matches the tint of the size. Well, I don't have yellow, so I figured silver would match, or white would match silver leafing better than yellow. Could be wrong. Didn't notice on the lap stuff. What I did on my size, I just poked some little holes in there. That way it doesn't all dump out at one time and have some kind of control over this. Which I'm sure this isn't trying to run all over because it is not a flat surface at all. Try to flatten it up just there. I wouldn't say be afraid of using too much because you're going to use a good bit. I'm probably going to have to put some more in there. As you can see, that's just a little bit. That should be enough. Hopefully enough because I don't want to double dip back in my paint. Oh yeah, that's plenty. Piled up our brush good. This is actually the second time I'm using this brush. It's still a little bit stiff. I cleaned it and all that good stuff, but it's still a little on the stiff side. I'm gonna actually do the trunk first, I guess. I have done test patterns where I did it with thick glue and thin glue to see if it made a difference. Didn't really notice a difference. If anything, the thicker glue had less holidays. The test panel I showed you before, that was the first panel. I laid it on super thick. Just because I was curious to see if that would make a difference as far as ability of being able to spin it or not. Didn't really seem to make a difference. But I am going to try and lay it pretty heavy. Not heavy enough to where it runs all down the panel, but I do want a pretty good layer. I do want to make sure I have as much cover as I can, that's for sure. I may actually do 2 coats. I may lay this, then lay my test panel, and then kind of go over this again. Totally should have put more glue down. It'll be all right, I suppose. So I've got size applied to all my panels, my test panels, and my actual trunk. Having the white worked out pretty good. I can see it really good through here. Probably should have had a little bit more for that part, but I can see the reflection of it in the light, so I'm pretty sure I got good coverage on there. We'll find out as soon as we apply some leaf to it. Got all these done too, so I'm gonna clean my brush out. I just clean it out with lacquer thinner, squirt a little bit in a mixing cup, clean it, wipe it with a towel, a little blue towel, and now we wait. This is the worst part in my mind of silver leafing, because it usually takes close to an hour, sometimes longer. I think last time I did this, it was an hour and 15 minutes. The temperature seriously plays a huge role in this stuff. Hence why we have our test panels here, because like I said, it's either make it or break it. It either works or it doesn't. And Like I said, temperature does play a huge difference. The temperature is completely different than the other day when I did this and it turned out nice. It's actually colder, so it'll probably take longer, which sucks. Probably take an hour and a half versus it was an hour and 15 minutes last time. But once again, that's why we have our test manuals. That way we can find out before we actually mess something up. Nifty little thing to have, one of these. If you do any kind of paint work, really, it makes it so much nicer. If you're cleaning out your paint gun, it's like a little pressure washer. It's awesome. I got it off Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description for it. I started up an Amazon affiliates page, so if you guys buy stuff from it, I get a little kickback. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out. That way I can afford to buy more Silverleaf. Yeah, you can just squirt just a tad bit in there, just enough to get your brush clean. You're not wasting a bunch. Usually I got a little vacuum plug for like an intake or something, a carburetor or something like that. I throw on there, keeps it from evaporating. Just makes short work out of stuff in my mind. I'm terrible at painting, terrible at spraying paint. I waste a ton of materials. That right there helps me not waste so much as far as when it comes time to clean, because I was wasting tons and tons of lacquer trying to clean my gun until I got one of those. Now when you put your brush up, they sell all kinds of different stuff. Some of the old school guys, they say put motor oil on it. Haven't tried that yet. Kind of seems like that wouldn't mix. I mean, paint and oil, it seems like it never goes together. Obviously you clean it out before you use it again, but it's supposed to preserve your brush. I haven't tried it. I got my pinstriping brush. I've had it quite a while. Haven't had no problems with it getting stiff or hard. I do the same thing, clean it with some lacquer thinner, wipe it clean, throw it in my box. Seems to be doing all right. And I suppose while we're waiting on this stuff to dry, I'll go through and show you my toolbox. Or my pinstriping box, I guess, as I should say. I actually got this in my Impala. It was in the trunk. Kind of sweet little deal. I guess it was a tackle box. But it works out good for this. Got a few brushes up here. This is my good pinstriping brush. Just a... This is my good pinstriping brush. Apparently never put it back in the case. I'm going to do my little jingle. It's a Mac Triple O, Triple Lot, I guess is what it's called. It works pretty good. I had another one. Don't know what to do with it. Might have chucked it over the years. I think it fell apart. I didn't take very good care of that one. This one I keep in a little tube. Stays pretty good. Like I said, when I clean it, wipe it down with a paper towel, throw it in there, let it sit. Got my grease pencil, Stabilo pencil, whatever you call it. Stole my wife's makeup brush. That's what I use. You can tell all the Silverleaf flying in there. That's what I use to clean off all the extra Silverleaf. Kind of a necessity. Sharpie, making marks. There's the brush that I just used. Now, when I started Silverleafing, everybody said you can use a cotton ball, pretty much anything. Cotton ball, velvet. They said you can use pretty much any kind of soft material. So, went really out of my way and got some crushed velvet, which doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to find, but it really is where I'm at. But I finally found some and got me a cotton ball in there. Put my velvet over there, got a little zip tie. I think this was I think it was like a die grinder attachment. So, had a little handle. I put it on a drill. It didn't work worth a crap, but I keep it in there. I don't know why. The other day when I had my amazing breakthrough, I actually went back and tried this after having success, and this still didn't work. Sure, it works for somebody, doesn't work for me. That little bad boy, we'll get back to that in a little bit. Got my Silverleaf. I actually got Silverleaf, gold leaf, copper leaf, all kinds of leaf. I don't have variegated leaf, but it's in the works. I had my little Crown Royal bag. This is actually what I was using to do my turning. It doesn't work either. I don't know why I have that in there anymore. Just kind of cool, I guess. I was using this to wipe off the excess gold leaf. It worked all right, but the makeup brush works way better. Got some of this sizing. I've heard good stuff. I haven't had any luck. I actually need to do a comparison now that I've actually kind of figured it out. I think it probably all works about the same. Still liquid, so that's good. But yeah, I'll come back to using that later on. Got me a little bit of pinstriping paint. I don't think I've never opened this one. Got some orange. Got my white. over here. Got those colors because I plan on doing the Impala orange one day with a white top. Figured I'd tinker around with that. Got a little bit of lacquer thinner for cleaning up brushes and whatnot. Kind of keep it all in here, that way when I need it, it's all in one spot, all available. It all fits together really nicely. As I put this up, make sure it's tight. It just all fits in there like a little home. Got my pliers so I can get my cap off. Yeah, nifty little thing to have. You got a tackle box laying around somewhere, might want to get one. Help keep all your stuff in one spot. Alright, so we're about a half hour in. Yeah, I'd say about a half hour. I kind of did this in a way. I did a lot heavier glue and did kind of lighter as I come down here. This stuff definitely still wet. Totally tell it. Of course, the temperature is completely dropped. I mean, it's went down a lot. So that does play a huge factor in the drying time on this, which I wish I would have started earlier now, but it is what it is. This one here, I'd applied a little bit thinner layer. I guess a lot thinner layer, but you can kind of feel it. It's tacky. Everyone says the best way to tell if your size is ready is if you can hear the squeal when you drag your knuckle across it. Now, I've tried this time and time again, and it'd still be too wet. I have a feeling it's still too wet right now, just because of the time. But like I said, this is a thinner layer. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Everyone's always told me that is the right time to layer leaf. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a test sample, because I'm pretty sure it's not, but I can at least show you what it looks like when you burn through, or I think it's called burnish. Whenever you do that, it's not what you want to do. But we're going to do it here, that way you know what it's not supposed to look like. Because there's a good chance it might all look like that. This stuff is super delicate. It comes on little sheets just like that. Just kind of lay it on there best I can. That was not best I can by any means. Totally screwed that up good. I'll use my sheet, kind of lay it all down best I can, better than when I applied it. So yep, that totally sucked. Don't do that. We'll try it again. I'm using copper leaf on this one, basically because I want to be sure I don't run out of silver leaf, and I really like the copper. I'm not the hugest fan of gold. I know most people dig it. I like it on occasion. I've just never really been a huge fan of gold. That's just me. But this copper I am totally digging. That laid down a lot better. Everyone says like your seams, I don't know if you guys can see it, I might bring it in closer, but your seams right there, everyone always say kind of thump it with your thumb to help kind of do away with the seam. I haven't really figured that part out yet. I mean, I've tried it, but it just doesn't really seem to do a whole lot. But I have noticed once you actually turn the leaf, it kind of does, hide the seam a lot better. The good thing about this leafing is you can use your excess. I have a little holiday right there. Actually, this will fit right there perfectly. You can kind of reuse some of the leftover stuff. It ain't really worth it trying to save all your leftover stuff. But in this case right here, that sure beats using a whole nother sheet. And I got a small little holiday right there. I'll try and get some more. Just like that. And once again, I'll use my sheet, kind of just press it down as flat as you can. I do make a roller for this. I haven't really got into that whole aspect of it yet. Still kind of buying tools and getting started and all that good stuff. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to brush it because I don't really want to contaminate this area too much more than I already have. But we will go to turn it because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's not going to turn. I'm pretty sure it's just going to all smear up. But while we're letting that sit, this is what I was talking about earlier. I'd actually machined this at work on my brakes, of course. But basically what it was is a shaft for a conveyor. It's 1 3/16 inch. I'm going to make a few different sizes. You can actually buy these. There's a few different places off the top of my head. Spin Leaf on Instagram, they sell them. I think they're out of stock. That's why I just made mine. That I had time to kill. But the real game changer, let me grab the actual piece. The real game changer was this. This is 5,000 grit sandpaper. I know that sounds pretty ridiculous as far as a grit. Sure, probably show cars, like lowrider of the year, they probably use that. And you really can't even tell there's any grit there, honestly. But I've got a hole cutter that I just knocked the hole out, 1 3/16 inch, and glued it on there. And this thing works amazingly. I cannot believe how good it works. This was the key. This is the whole thing that I was struggling to figure out. So we'll see how it does on this. Like I said, I'm pretty positive this stuff's still too wet. I might get lucky. We're about to find out. Yeah, off to a good start. Basically what you want to do, I'll bring it in close so you can see it, but it's got a foam pad on there. And pretty much you just want to put it on there and just apply a little bit of pressure. You'll literally start to feel the sweet spot. And that's what I've learned. It's actually doing all right. You could put this on a drill. That was kind of the reason I made it. Really, in all honesty, I think it works just fine by using your hand. It gives you a little bit more control, I think. I think with a drill, I'm kind of all over. It's hard to keep it uniform. You want to try and keep your sandpaper as clean as you can. And I guess I will have to use my brush because I do have some overlapping right there. And we'll try and keep it out of everything else. Basically, you just want to swirl it around. Do have the holiday right there. I don't know if that was from the glue being too wet or what. But either way, it's not desirable. And everybody's always told me that if you can see a reflection in there, you've waited too long. Honestly, this last time I did it, the leafing was super shiny, like almost chrome. But man, when I turned it, it worked perfect. So kind of not really sure on that still. This here is a little bit shiny, but it was way shinier before. But this is turning pretty good. It ain't the greatest. It ain't like it was. It's not like what it was last time. But as I said also, I think it's a little bit too soon, which is not tearing, so that's a good sign. No, it is tearing by the edges. That's what that holiday was. I did come a little bit too soon on this, which I figured it was. And that's why we wait. That's why we do test pieces. But other than that, it's turning out pretty decent. So there's what we got so far. I did do a terrible job laying my leaf down. There's my first seam. I don't know what that was. It may have been just in the leaf itself. But that looks like trash. But it did turn out all right as far as it turns. Like I said, right there, the glue is a little wet still. That's what you don't want to happen. But we're going to let all this stuff cure a little bit longer. And we'll do some test pieces. Then we'll come up here and try that. I think when I come up here, I may, depending on how this goes, I may put a new piece of sandpaper on there and see how it goes. Because those are all right, but the last test piece turned out a lot better. And believe it or not, you can go back over this again. Sometimes it turns out all right, sometimes it doesn't. mainly you got to have a really steady hand and try not to basically go outside the lines of where you were before. Don't think it's really going to make a huge difference on this one. Yeah, looks a little bit better, but don't really think it's worth the effort. I think we'll wait a little bit longer and see how the other stuff turns out. Now, as far as prep work goes, obviously you want a smooth surface. I don't think this will work over primer. I don't think you may be able to lay it down, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to turn it. You definitely want a smooth surface to be able to turn it. I would think that you could rough it up with a Scotch-Brite pad or so. Maybe a red one, I don't know, maybe a little bit too harsh. Most of the people I've talked to, they said just lay it over clear coat and it'll adhere fine. Whoa, table's running away. Yeah, they said it'll adhere fine on the clear coat. I don't know, I just laid it over clear coat on this. I mean, obviously this isn't no showpiece. It's going to be inside, so I don't have to worry about any UV light. I've heard of people doing them on mid coats. I would assume that'd probably work pretty good. I hear a lot of people bitching about doing it on base coat. They say it's the worst thing in the world, which I can completely understand. For one, if you mess up, there really isn't any turning back, because if you take thinner or reducer to base coat, it'll probably wipe it off. So probably not the best ideas in the world. With clear coat, I guess if you did mess up completely, you can sand it off, as long as you don't burn all the way through the clear. But yeah, most people say it's good just to do over clear coat. I'm not really that experienced. I'm just kind of giving you the info that I know. As far as like a top coat, I heard a lot of people say you can actually put the size back over it and it'll act like a clear coat, or you can have it sanded down and re-cleared. I want to say they make a clear coat that you can brush on also and it'll lay flat. Not 100% sure on that. Once again, just kind of giving you the info that I know. But we're going to wait some more and let this stuff dry. It acts like it's all right. This one here squeaks really good. It may be ready. I'm going to hold out a little bit longer because we're like 45 minutes now. This doesn't squeak all that well, which I laid it pretty heavy. I actually come back and did a second coat on this. I went up to here with a second coat. Probably didn't need it. That's kind of why I stopped, because once I started brushing, I could feel that it was pretty well taken care of. There's actually a brush hair right there, you can see. Over here, it squeaks pretty well. It may be ready, but I'm gonna try and kind of wait it out. Like I said earlier, I have noticed the last time I did it, it seemed like I applied the leaf too late because it was really shiny, but it did turn out really well. So we're gonna kind of hang out on the longer end and see how it goes. Hopefully it'll turn out just as good as the other stuff. You know, I'm still kind of learning here too. So it'll either turn out really good or turn out really crappy. One of the two, that's a guarantee. So we are an hour in. I'm gonna apply a little bit. I'm actually do a half of a sleeve. Basically, because I'm pretty sure this is still too wet. You know, judging just by my experience, what little bit I have. It squeaks. It squeaks really good, but I don't know. When I put my finger on it, it just seems still too soft. But this right here is probably about the same consistency as this. So if this turns good, you might green light it and throw some leaf on there and see how it goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw a test piece on here and we'll see. I'm gonna try and do a better job than I did there because that was an ultimate fail. But this stuff is really just super temperamental. Definitely something you want to do inside. I would not attempt doing this in your driveway. Believe me, I've tried. It doesn't turn out too well. Let me go from the top down. That way I can somewhat line it up. And yep, I'm screwing up. There we go. Yeah, you basically just gotta set it on there, which pretty much all the stuff I practice on, other than my 90 Cadillac, was all horizontal. Didn't really do any vertical stuff, so that'll be a real challenge, I'm sure. And as far as all this stuff here, I'm probably going to cut it. You can't cut the stuff with scissors. Kind of make it where you don't weigh so much. I'm probably going to cut it. I may not, just because it might be more difficult to try and set it up there. But we'll see how it goes. That laid down all right. I got some trash in there, which I'm sure that'll peek through as soon as I try and turn it. Which I had some trash in that also. I believe I got it all scraped off. Let's see how this is going to work. I felt like it was going to be too wet, but it might be just right. That, I think the sandpaper has a lot to do with it. It doesn't seem to have as much pressure. Not to mention that foam kind of acts like a barrier between putting too much pressure down. Yeah, a little spot there come through. I think that's where that trash was. Haven't figured out how to fix any imperfections like that yet. Everyone says you can reapply glue, reapply size. Everyone says you can reapply size and keep on trucking. Don't know yet. Haven't really made it that far in it. Trying just to do it right the first time and be done with it. Kind of like Happy Gilmore. You make a hole in one, you don't have to worry about the short game. So that turned out pretty decent. So what I think I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna start on that side because that side's really squeaking good. I think I'm gonna work my way this way. That way that'll have a little bit extra time to cure. Really didn't burn through on this. I had some bad holidays, but like I said, there is some trash that got in the glue apparently, and it acted, it's acting bad. But we'll see how it goes. It is what it is. Yeah, there's a close-up. You can see right there, right there, right there. Has some little trash. So hopefully the other stuff won't turn out like that, but we'll see. All right, it is go time. As you may see, I cut this in half, perfectly square cut, I might add. So we're gonna try and lay some of this on here. Do the best that we can. Obviously, the straighter you can keep this stuff, the better it's going to look. This here is actually a brand new leaflet pack, and I am not having any luck whatsoever of getting this stuff torn apart without taking the other sheet of paper, which I'm trying not to do. If I haven't mentioned yet, this stuff's super delicate. This stuff's super delicate. And I see holidays in this piece already, so that's off to a bad start. Laid down pretty flat, so I'm happy about that. Trying to kind of not have a seam here. Probably shouldn't have done it like that, but we'll see. It's all part of learning, I guess. I was trying to kind of put the seam on the corner. Not that I think that's a good thought now, but well, it is what it is. You don't really want to use your fingers to try and smooth this stuff out because your fingers will straight up rip it. So I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna kind of brush that off, try and turn it, hope for the best. I would brush it off now, but I don't really want to contaminate that area. Stuff is laying down pretty good, surprisingly. That's got a rip in it. That is not good. I just fucked up. Not to mention I have 2 sheets of leaf here. Well, that is not working out like I wanted it to. But this will. We'll see how that turns out. Turn out worth crap. Alright, now the magic time. Let me find my brush. Right here, whole time. Well, that seemed turned out pretty good. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy with that one. Wish I could say the same about this one. Now the real test. It's looking good so far. Let's see if we can completely screw it up. I'm going to actually start right here because I'm not trying to have a turn in the middle of that crease. I'm pretty sure that won't work out the way I want it to. Oh yeah! That's looking pretty sweet. Not gonna lie, after that. Now as long as the rest of it does it, I'm not sure how I'm gonna go around the corner. Haven't got that far in learning this yet. But if I could have done this when the blue rose was on the road, you guarantee I would have. I'm just not confident enough to do it on my car yet. Blue Rose was a different story. It was a learning experience. Because if I messed it up, it didn't really matter. Yep, had a little bit of a tear through. It'd be alright, I'm going to cut that piece off. All right, we're looking pretty good. I'll bring you guys in here. Hopefully you can see it from there. But if not, oh yeah, that looks good. All right, that's what we're looking at. Looking pretty good. Really doesn't look that great through camera. honestly, it does look better in person. I mean, good enough to where I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty picky. Yeah, it did burn through a little bit right up there. That's all right. I'm sure this is uneven, so I'm sure it has a lot to do with it. But yeah, we're going to keep on trucking. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, I want to bring you in just for 1 minute here. Now, this piece is overlapping this piece. I don't really want to be brushing on this side and bring it back in case it tries to peel any. So I'm going to start on the overlapping side and kind of brush it down. You can see I'm not really putting a whole lot of pressure. I'm putting just enough to kind of help lay it down. But I'm going to go back over to that seam right there and try and make sure it's all pushed down and then kind of go back, because I don't want to peel that off if it's not stuck down all the way. That turned out pretty good. Wish that turned out really good. Wish they could all turn out like that. Alright, let's get back to the good stuff. This is my favorite part. And my dumbass just set that in the glue. That was not very smart. Do a test turn on here. Just make sure it didn't suck up any glue and start peeling the leaf. That would suck. That was a good turnout so far, and ruin it in the end. Still looking good. I will say I'm pretty freaking happy with that. First time ever doing it on paint. I can dig it. Mr. Dees, what you think? So yeah, I am pretty freaking happy with that. That turned out pretty good. Maybe had one bad spot. There goes the table again. It had one bad spot. But for my first time doing an actual... Jeez, Mr. Deebs, you alright? For my first time doing it on an actual painted surface and the vertical surface, I think I did pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with it. Didn't burn through anywhere. I think that was just some trash still under the paint. So yeah, you definitely want a smooth, slick surface. Any trash will show up for sure. Yeah, I'm super happy about it. It took me a long time to get this far. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people watching this that are actually good at self-relief, and they're like, man, can't believe it took you that long to get that far. But, you know, if you are somebody that's good at self-relief and you got some tips, I am more than welcome to hear opinions, because I don't know at all when it comes to this. I know very, very little bit. But it's turning out the way I want it to turn out, so I'm pretty happy with it. I'll show you some stuff they did on the Hulk. It's pretty cool. I'm not at all sure how they did it. I thought they put it on wet. It's like fingerprints in the leaf. It's really cool. I tried doing it with it really wet. It doesn't work, so I don't know what he did, but I'll show it to you. It's really cool. This is what I was talking about. I don't know if you can really see it, but it looks like little fingerprints all throughout the leaf. Pretty cool little design they got going on. And also, I'm pretty happy with the edges. They turned out pretty good. Got a little bit of bleed through on the glue. I think a lot of that was I didn't push the glue down, or didn't push the tape down good enough, because when I started peeling it, I noticed some spots where it didn't really stick. But it did leave a good edge on the leaf itself, which I'm really happy about. I am going to run a pinstripe over this, kind of enhance my skills a little bit more. I had a bad tape spot there. I had a few bad spots, but nothing really that a small pinstriping wouldn't cure, which probably about 90% of the time people pinstripe over silver leafing to kind of clean up the edge anyways. So don't really think I did anything bad there. But from where I started and where I am now, my edges are a lot better. Definitely a lot crisper. I had a bad problem with it tearing back into the leaf. Don't really know what I did differently. I want to say I put the size on there and then peeled the tape. That probably would do it while it's still wet. This time, as you guys seen, I put my leaf on there, turned it, and then peeled it afterwards. Let's see what time we're at now. That way we can see how far in we are. We're an hour and a half in. So, yeah, the timing is weird. Like I said, last time I was an hour and 15 minutes before I started laying the leaf. This time, right about an hour. I don't know, maybe an hour and 15 again, because I think we were at an hour when I did this one. But the temperature is really cold. Don't have a thermometer in here. Probably be a good idea to get one for stuff like this. But yeah, outside it's pretty cold. I'm wearing sandals and feeling it in my feet. Ain't like freezing, but it's getting pretty cold. But yeah, other than that, this is where I'm gonna end the video. Yeah, so hit the like button if this helped you. Comment and let me know what you think. If you know a better way of doing it, like I said, I'm all ears. Share the video, because it took me a long time to find anything. There's a good bit of videos out there, but none of them are really helpful to me. Like I said, I think the main deal was this right here, this sandpaper. Definitely a game changer by far. So until then, once again, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you in the next go around.